I'm Amanda King.
And we're the King Sisters.
Yep.
And we're back with another week of Power of the Gospel.
That's right, episode 9.
Episode 9, and we will be starting in chapter 19.
That's right.
All right, so we're just going to dive right in.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Chapter 19, verse 1. Now, when Jesus had finished these sayings, he went away from Galilee and entered the region of Judea beyond the Jordan. And large crowds followed him, and he healed them there.
Okay, so we just have to point out, everywhere he goes,
He heals.
everywhere he goes, he heals people. He fixes things. It's just wonderful.
That's what he does.
That's
what he does.
That's what he
How
does.
he was then, and it's how he is now.
Yep.
All right. And Pharisees came up to him and tested him by asking, "Is it lawful to divorce one's wife for any cause?" He answered, "Have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh? So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate." They said to him, "Why then did Moses command one to give a certificate of divorce and to send her away?" He said to them, "Because of your hardness of heart, Moses allowed you to divorce your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality and marries another commits adultery." The disciples said to him, "If such is the case of a man with his wife, it is better not to marry." But he said to them, "Not everyone can receive this saying, but only those to whom it is given. For there are eunuchs who have been so from birth, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have been made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Let the one who is able to receive this, receive it."
Okay, so the first thing that kind of stands out to me here is,
Hey, get out of here.
we have another guest.
We have an intruder. Hang on. I have to take care of this intruder.
All right. So
All right, we're back. The intruder has been removed.
our unexpected guest. All right, so back to what I was getting ready to say. What jumped out at me here is, so right after the large crowds follow Jesus and he heals them, there's these super knowledgeable religious people that instead of rejoicing and being full of faith and praising God, they're trying to find a problem. They're
trying to trick him, trying to trap him in something.
Yeah, they're trying to trip him up and ask, tricky questions to try to get people to stumble people. Like, what in the world? And so, and then the way Jesus answers it is just awesome, though, because he's addressing the heart of the matter.
Yep.
Well, the Lord intended it to be a good, wonderful thing.
Yep.
And this action that had been taking place was not good and wonderful.
Yeah.
It was a bad intention, bad motives. The spirit of it was not right. And so then when the disciples said, well, it'd be better not do them for this reason, he's like, no.
Well, that doesn't work for everybody. There's nothing wrong with
nothing wrong with
it.
No. Right. You're taking it too far.
Yeah.
Too far. So, okay, go on.
All right, so then we go to verse 13. Then children were brought to him that he might lay his hands on them and pray. The disciples rebuked the people, but Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven." And he laid his hands on them and went away.
I just had a thought about that. Sometimes, and this is just my view of it, what I have witnessed kind of in seeing what happens sometimes in church. The children get separated, from the main service. And I understand to a certain degree. There's times that it is easier to keep the little ones out. I've been there.
They go do some fun activities.
Right, or if they're causing a disturbance, sometimes that can be distracting to others, and so you're trying to be respectful. And I totally get that. But the part that's kind of standing out to me, though, what is so interesting, and I don't know if I've even actually seen that before, is Jesus laid his hands on them, right? It says...
He prayed for them.
So he said, "Bring them to me." And then he didn't color with them. He didn't draw in the sand or make pictures.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that. We want them to know the Bible stories.
Yeah.
We want them to grasp the...
But he treated them the same way he treated the people.
Yeah, and
He
so
prayed for them.
if Jesus prayed for them and touched them, what do we know was happening in other places when he touched people? His power would leave, right? If they touched him, they could feel his power. He could feel power going. And now it doesn't say that the power went into the children, but it does say He prayed for them, and he laid his hands on them. I think that it's very important that children growing up or young people get to feel the presence and power of God. It changes your life, no matter what age you are.
Yeah.
Right? It's more than just healing.
Yeah.
When you get to feel the presence, the touch of Jesus, it's a tangible thing. It's not just something we say.
Right.
Right?
Right, yeah.
But he did it to the children too.
Well, I got to experience it when I was 8.
You were
so I grew up
you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it can touch, the power of God can touch kids.
Yeah.
Touch my kids too. So we've had those stories. All right. So anyways, that's exciting to see.
It is. Okay, so moving to verse 16 here. And behold, a man came up to him saying, Teacher, what good deed must I do to have eternal life? And he said to him, Why do you ask me about what is good? There is only one who is good. If you would enter life, keep the commandments. He said to him, Which ones? And Jesus said, You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. Honor your father and mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. The young man said to him, All these I have kept. What do I still lack? Jesus said to him, If you would be perfect, go sell what you possess and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come, follow me. When the young man heard this, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. And
I was just gonna. I guess Jesus is gonna. I was just gonna say, I have always kind of noticed that he was sorrowful, because Jesus asked him to sell and give to the poor, right? And he didn't want to because he had so many great possessions. And that's always been kind of what stood out to me before. But what's kind of standing out today while we're reading it is Jesus did advise doing that. But he said, and follow me.
Follow me.
He would have got to be one of the disciples.
Yeah.
Because not everybody, sometimes Jesus said, no, go back and share it with your family.
He didn't invite everybody.
He didn't invite everybody, but he invited that young man. And if you'll go sell everything, the current career path that you're on, and you let go of all that and follow me, I don't know, that's kind of he would have been present to see some of the amazing things Jesus
did.
Yeah, so, okay.
And Jesus said to his disciples, Truly I say to you, only with difficulty will a rich person enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God. When the disciples heard this, they were greatly astonished, saying, Who then can be saved? But Jesus looked at them and said, With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Then Peter said in reply, See, we have left everything and followed you. What then will we have? Jesus said to them, Truly I say to you, in the new world, when the Son of Man will sit on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or father or mother or children or lands for my name's sake will receive 100-fold and will inherit eternal life. But many who are first will be last, and the last first.
Okay, so sometimes, we've talked about this before, when you really surrender to the Lord, when you really yield, sometimes there's areas in your life or a career path or whatever that you kind of start to feel like maybe that is not
that was maybe my plan, not necessarily the Lord's plan.
Yeah, but it's not that you just have to give it all up and then you're without everything.
Right, no.
He said, if you have given up these things truly for me, if I've really led you in a direction that you have to leave something like this or give this up to follow me, you're going to receive that back. As it goes on, those things are going to be restored.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Just in a godly way.
And I think, too, here where it's saying, everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or father or mother, it's not saying that you have to abandon your family. I think what that's talking about is sometimes when a person does get saved, it doesn't, we've talked about it before, it doesn't hit the whole family at the exact same time.
Right.
Sometimes it can be very dividing.
Yeah, there can be a rift almost for a while. Of division.
And you might have to walk out a period of time where maybe you're really close with a sibling and you get saved and they don't understand what's going on and they don't agree with what you're saying. You have a choice then if you're going to continue pursuing the Lord,
right,
or are you going to please that sibling that you love and you've been so close with and grew up with? Like, that is difficult. And the Lord recognizes
Yes, he does.
how difficult that is. And he's going to reward you
Yes.
for continuing to pursue him.
And he specifically listed out.
And he specifically listed out. And most likely, those loved ones that you cherish that don't quite get it yet, they're going to come into.
By seeing him move and manifest in your life and the prayers, he wants them saved too. And so we've seen it in our life, right? Some got saved sooner than others. Sometimes
it took a little while.
Took longer. And we had a little bit of persecution for a while. But they did.
Yeah.
They did. And
but it's not like you have to turn your back on them.
No. It's more of follow. It's the act of following him, even if, you know. And in my case, that one time, it was a physical thing about selling my actual
Oh, yeah, well, that's true.
house because he had a plan that we did not know about. We really did need to relocate, and we ended up not all of us, not our whole family, but almost. You followed, and then, you know, mom and dad, but not all of us got to. But that's okay because the Lord has a plan. He has a plan. But
and his plan is always better than we could have imagined.
That's right. It is.
All right. Going on to chapter 20 now.
Okay.
For the kingdom of heaven is like a master of a house who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And going out about the third hour, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace. And to them he said, "You go into the vineyard too, and whatever is right I will give you." So they went, going out again about the 6th hour, and the 9th hour he did the same. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing, and he said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They said to him, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You go into the vineyard too." And when evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Call the laborers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last up to the first." Beginning with the last up to the first. Okay. And when those hired about the 11th hour, so they worked the least.
Yes,
okay?
They did.
We're keeping track here. This is important. So,
but they're doing the same work.
They're doing
a shorter amount of time.
Yeah. And when those hired about the 11th hour came, each of them received a denarius. Now, when those hired first came, they thought they would receive more, but each of them also received a denarius. And on receiving it, they grumbled at the master of the house, saying, "These last worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the day and the scorching heat." But he replied to one of them, "Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? Take what belongs to you and go. I choose to give to this last worker as I give to you. Am I not allowed to do what I choose with my belongings? Or do you begrudge my generosity? So the last will be first, and the first will be last."
That's intense.
That's intense. That's intense. But it's like a visualization of salvation.
Yep.
Oops, there's my reminder again. Probably need to cancel that. Gotta eat my apple.
But yeah, no, it's powerful though, and it's he cautions us to guard our heart, right? Like, or sometimes, you know, someone's been serving the Lord for a long time, lots of prayer and fasting, they've been praying, maybe they want to be used by the Lord to see healings and miracles happen in their ministry, and it's taken a long time of lots of prayer, lots of fasting, lots of seeking the Lord, and then you have someone else that's not been even born again very long, and
they have
and lots
stuff
of
happening,
wonderful things are happening. Guard your heart. Don't get envious. Don't get jealous. Like
the reward is
it's the Lord's to give.
Yes.
And he is incredibly generous, and so his ways are not our ways, and we just want to keep humble before him.
Yes.
And not try to
don't judge yourself against others, and
don't compare.
Don't compare. Don't think
compare anointings.
Just because you've been a believer for a long time, you know, we're not any better than even a new believer.
The gifts are the same. The inheritance is the same. Yeah. And we don't want to ever have a grandmother.
Sorry, we have disgruntled animals today, apparently.
Curious.
Curious
What's going
animals.
on?
He just barked at me.
All right.
Okay, let's see where we finished that section. So, verse 17. Chapter 20, verse 17. And as Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside, and on the way he said to them, "See, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and scribes, and they will condemn him to death, and deliver him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified, and he will be raised on the third day."
Yeah. It's heavy, and they didn't grasp what was
They didn't
coming.
know what was coming.
Yeah.
Not really. Then the mother of the sons of Zebedee came up to him with her sons, and kneeling before him, she asked him for something. And he said to her, "What do you want?" She said to him, "Say that these 2 sons of mine are to sit, one at your right hand and one at your left in your kingdom." Jesus answered, "You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I am to drink?" They said to him, "We are able." He said to them, "You will drink my cup, but to sit at my right hand and at my left is not mine to grant, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared by my Father." And when the 10 heard it, they were indignant at the 2 brothers. But Jesus called them to him and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. It shall not be so among you. But whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be your slave. Even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many."
Yeah. So important to walk in humility, to not self-elevate, to not be lifted up. Like, the longer we love him, the longer we serve him, the more aware of being humble we should be, the more kind. Like, sometimes, unfortunately, there's in restaurants, there's a reputation sometimes of Christians being the hardest customers or leaving the worst tips. That should not be so.
That should not be so.
Like, we should be the kindest. We should be the most generous if we're able to give a good tip. Sometimes you can't financially. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we should grow in our kindness. We should grow in our gentleness, our humility. Be the one to help someone, serve someone else. Don't be lifted up and think that you should be waited on, or that you should be served first. That attitude is wrong.
Right.
It's kind of contrary in the world's ways, are not that way. VIPs are elevated. The stars are elevated on the stage. You can't get close to them. You couldn't.
Wow.
You can't. But we're not supposed to have that kind of spirit. But okay. Sammy says let's carry on.
All right. Chapter 29. Or no, I'm sorry. Verse 29 here. And as they went out of Jericho, a great crowd followed him. And behold, there were 2 blind men sitting by the roadside. And when they heard that Jesus was passing by, they cried out, "Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David." The crowd rebuked them, telling them to be silent. But they cried out all the more, "Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David." And stopping, Jesus called them and said, "What do you want me to do for you?" They said to him, "Lord, let our eyes be opened." And Jesus, in pity, touched their eyes, and immediately they recovered their sight and followed him.
That is so awesome. Okay, so first thing that just kind of jumps out at me, okay, so they're blind. They have a real need, right? They're calling out to him, and a couple things. First of all, the Lord doesn't answer the first time. Jesus didn't say anything, and it is like that sometimes.
He wants you to pursue him.
He does. And do you think he didn't hear him? I'm pretty sure he can hear everything. He just didn't respond yet. Then you have all these people pressuring them to be quiet.
Yeah.
So
they cried out louder.
They did. We've had pressure before to just be quiet.
Just be quiet. Stop.
Will you just be quiet? Quit talking about this all the time. No, I'm going to talk louder. I'm going to say it again and again. I'm going to keep doing it. We're going to tell anybody and everybody. But then Jesus does stop. He did hear. He was pleased by the persistence. They are rewarded mightily.
They were.
For that persistence.
Yeah.
And he heals them, and then they get to follow him. Like, what
I mean, you think about that. I mean, you just read it at
Quickly,
face
and
value and quickly, like, oh, he healed their eyes. But I mean, like, somebody that lives with blindness.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a horrible affliction to have to live your life with. It'd be scary. And,
Sure.
and he healed them. Like, that fully changed their life forever.
And he
like,
was moved with pity for them.
Mhm.
He cared.
He
He
cares.
looked at them and saw the situation that they were dealing with. He was moved by that. Yes, here you go.
Yeah.
Let's let him be open.
And he healed them.
then-
He's so good. He's so wonderful.
He is. He's so kind. He's just
Amazing.
amazing. Oh,
Well, that's it for today.
yep.
So,
Well, I hope it blessed you.
yeah.
See you
We'll
next
see you next
time.
time. Bye.
Bye.